Alright, that was a sample from Lys Agnes's performance of Ave Maria. Hello. My name is Starry, and I am joined by my good friend from the Starry panel, Anisha. And today we're going to feature an artist named Lys Agnes, who was on season 6 of America's Got Talent back in 2011. Anisha and myself, we're great fans of her. She has this amazing contralto voice, and she specializes in the classical genre, but she also likes the rock genre as well. A lot of people remark that she has a voice reminiscent of Maria Callas, who is arguably the most recognized and celebrated opera singers of the last century. So similarly, Lisa's voice is very dramatic and lush. It's rich with emotion, which also allows her to deliver such captivating performances. So while she was on the show, she did a total of 4 performances, which are Ave Maria, Habanera from the opera Carmen, an operatic version of Bring Me to Life, and a rock opera version of Dream On. So my favorite of them all has got to be Ave Maria, which was the song she did for her audition. The performance was just very simple. It focused mostly on her voice alone, without the theatrics, and I felt that it was raw and pure in that way, without any contrivances. So if I could sum up her performance with one word, it would be heavenly. I just remember how moved I was by her rendition of that song. So, Anisha, what was your favorite performance of hers?
So you said Ave Maria, which I absolutely loved as well. Before, I think that was my favorite, but I listened to Dream On, and the reason I like that one is because it was the most bold. I think it really showed what a powerful voice she's got. So yeah, I really love all her performances, I have to say.
For sure. Interestingly enough, I remember reading one of her interviews, which the links are posted in the description. The links to the articles that we could find, of course, that still exist. But anyway, where she said that her favorite moment on the show was when she was singing Ave Maria, because she personally felt that she was, quote, just singing when she was doing that performance. So I think she probably felt that she was in her truest element during that performance. But, aside from her angelic voice, Lys is like a living embodiment of art. So firstly, I think she is absolutely beautiful. She has one of the most interesting and unique looks I have ever seen. I mean, when she first appeared, she was sporting what appeared to be micro braids. Her look overall just defies the typical image of an operatic singer, and I really like that about her. Her eyes are just very captivating as well. They are very expressive, and it's like you could see her soul through them. I mean, Anisha, didn't you say that you recently saw someone that reminded you of Elise?
Yes, actually, yeah. I saw a girl, she was about 18 or 19. She had a very similar appearance to Lys and a similar aura as well. She had beautiful dark skin and also had light hair. I thought it really reminded me of Lys, and also the kind of the calm, spiritual kind of demeanor. I thought that was a very kind of attractive kind of look.
For sure. Lys is just the epitome of grace and elegance in a woman in my view. Well, first of all, she's very statuesque, I have to say. I could totally see her as like a high fashion supermodel gracing the covers of Vogue magazine. She has a very exotic appearance, and could be the perfect statement of multiculturalism in the fashion industry. What do you think, Anisha?
I agree 100%. We need to see more models like her. I think she's gorgeous.
The funny thing is, especially on her Dream On performance, I have to say, she really reminds me of like a real-life Pocahontas. The way that Disney imagines her to be anyway. not the real life one, because that was before photography even existed, so we really don't have an idea of what she looked like. But anyway, the way that Disney captures her, I felt that Lys really reminded me of Disney's image of Pocahontas.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, she really did.
And fun fact, did you know that she's actually Arawak? Like her
Oh,
ethnicity. It's like she has Native American blood in her, I believe. I read it somewhere.
wow. Well, that's pretty interesting.
So maybe that's why she kind of reminds me of like a real life Pocahontas.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Aside from all of that, the thing that really makes her attractive to me is her depth as a human being. If you've read some of her interviews that she's given in the past, I'm positive that there are still some floating around out there on the web. You'll discover that Lys is a very intellectual, sensitive, and deep person. She says that she is very introspective and spiritual, so she likes to reflect upon herself a lot. And she has a lot of deep insight on the world. So, for instance, in an exclusive interview with a person named Anne Carlini, I believe. I can't seem to find the link to the article anymore, but anyway, it was there at one point. Lys did say that she actually had 2 tattoos on both her arms that symbolized the Alpha and the Omega symbol. So Alpha was supposed to be the beginning of life, and then Omega was the end of the journey, so to speak. That's a fun fact. But anyway, Anisha, I know you identified a lot with her on spirituality.
Yeah, I feel like she reflected a lot of my own views on spirituality, and I feel like, yeah, that in that way, I feel like I can really relate to her, and I really wish that I could speak to her personally to tell her that. I feel like she would be such an amazing person to have a conversation with.
For sure. I mean, I think she'd be a great person to interview. I think you could ask her a lot of deep questions, and she could probably give you, like, I don't know, I just feel like very meaningful answers.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's actually an interview that Lys did with America's Got Talent when she reached the top 10, where she talked about her life a little bit more in depth. So I have a link to the video in the description below, be sure to check it. In the interview, you kind of understand Lys as a person a little bit more, as she sheds light on her struggles as an artist and other problems besides the emotional one that she had with losing her fiance, which in itself is very, very tragic indeed. And after hearing her interview, I do really feel for her. I think that it's very unfortunate because she has such great potential. You've seen that interview as well, Anisha, right?
Yeah, just seeing that interview alone, I feel like she's a very creative, artistic soul, a very caring, genuine person with so much to her. I thought she seems fascinating, and I would love to see more of what she has to offer.
Yeah, I think the interview touched a little bit on her personal struggles as well, and it was interesting to see that side of her.
Yeah, she had a very tragic past, actually. Yeah, I can really sympathize with that.
I think it's mainly because she kind of talks about how she struggled with being an artist, such as being able to find work and all that, and that really it makes me very sympathetic for her, because I think that she's such a great artist. She should be like making albums.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. I felt like during the course of the show, they focused much in the story on her late fiance to get a reaction out of her, and they really didn't focus on who she was as an artist until she was in the top 10, and I wish they did that earlier. I mean, the story about her fiance is very tragic, obviously, but at the same time, it would have been nice if they introduced her as an individual and they kind of focused on what she was about at an earlier stage. And then speaking of which, I really want to talk about her top 10 performance of Aerosmith's Dream On. Anisha, what do you think?
Okay. I thought that her performance of Dream On was very bold and beautiful, and it just really shows what an amazing vocal ability she has.
Yeah, you see, at the time of her performance, her rendition of Aerosmith's Dream On actually received a lot of controversy online. There are some of these articles that exist they still exist, unfortunately, but it proves my point. There were a lot of harsh opinions, as a lot of people didn't like what she did with her cover. So basically, she explained that she wanted to fuse opera and rock together to deliver something like a rock opera, which is different and very cool in my honest opinion. So instead of her operatic voice, she started off that performance in a lower register, in a voice that we've really never heard before until that point, which really impressed and intrigued me, as I was hearing how wide her vocal range was for the very first time. And I thought she did a wonderful job, and I remember picking up all the phones in my house and voting for her at the time. It was just different, and clearly she put her own spin on that performance. I really respect her courage in doing so, because that definitely took guts. Clearly some people didn't get it, but you know what? You want another rehash of something you've already heard? That's rather trite. I mean, what irritates me a lot is that people are always so quick to compare a cover version of a song to the original artist. It's a cover song. Like, I want to hear a unique interpretation, not a mimicry. She really accomplished that during the performance. Nowhere in my mind was I thinking of Steven Tyler. And in fact, I didn't even know who he was or that he was the original singer of that song when I was hearing it at that time.
Right. When she performed that, that was her song. Like, she could do what she likes, but that was her performance. Like, she was showing what an amazing vocal ability she had, and she could do it in any way she liked. I personally loved that performance.
I did too, and I wish that people would have been less critical of her. I mean, like, the names and the stuff they were just calling it, they really, I could see why she felt hurt the following night.
Yeah, that's really horrible.
Yeah, I think she mentioned in the post-show interview that the reception of the performance kind of broke her spirit a little bit, and I think that's really tragic. I think she should be proud that she did a performance like that, because those people who vilified her performance, like, who are they? Who are they? Like, nobody knows and nobody cares. It's honestly beneath consideration, really. I think her entire performance of Dream On was centered around the theme of courage. The courage to be different and unique. The courage to dream and dream big, you know. Her wardrobe that night was also quite memorable for whatever reason. It was a fringe Native American inspired dress, and she sported like extended eyelashes like Catwoman. And she had platinum blonde hair that pretty much looked white. I thought it was a very interesting look, definitely.
Yeah, that was like so her. It just showed who she was, and I loved that.
Yeah, indeed. You know, Lys commented in a post-interview that there is a drastic separation of TV world from the real world. Because as on TV, you really are putting on a show with a smile, even if things aren't going well in your real life. You have to kind of suck it up and just perform. I think she had a valid point about reality TV in general, and how they only show things on the surface, things that perhaps would benefit the ratings of the show. So everything from the judges' comments to the arrangements to the commentary might be contrived to fit the narratives of the show. And Anisha, you might not notice, but I remember seeing these tabloids that were producing fake articles about her, including some suggesting that she had a fling with Nick Hockey Stick Cannon, who was the host of the show at the time. Like, they were suggesting that she was pregnant and all these other disgusting rumors.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Right?
Terrible.
I mean, it's terrible. And I'm surprised that nobody like sued them for libel or something, because isn't that considered like libel?
Yeah, I would think so, yeah.
I think she said she tried to do something about it, but she couldn't, like, it was beneath her power because she didn't have, like, the resources or the money to sue them. And I don't know why the show didn't protect her or something. I figured that Nick Cannon, because he was married to Mariah Carey at the time, he would have, like, stepped up and maybe, like, sued the tabloids or something. I'm just surprised he didn't do anything about it. But
Shocking.
yeah, she said she couldn't do anything about these bogus articles, and maybe that was something that kind of discouraged her from being in the spotlight.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. Because being a celebrity, you have these pressures that you've got to deal with. And I feel like, you know, some people, they might be more sensitive than others. Perhaps she was too much of a sensitive soul to be able to kind of handle the spotlight, which is, it's sad, but also, you know, I suppose we want what's best for her.
We do, definitely. You know, just a side note, there was actually another singer on the show named Kehlani Parrish, who used to be the lead singer of Pop Life, which was a band that appeared beside Lys Agnes on the same season of America's Got Talent, who actually made it to the top 4, the finals. So Kehlani, or as her nickname suggests, Lani Tsunami, is currently a very popular and famous R&B singer in the United States who has made quite a name for herself, such as being featured in the Suicide Squad, the movie, that soundtrack. So who is to say what can happen out of these shows?
Right, yeah, it's unpredictable. We wouldn't know until
it happens.
You know. Yeah, exactly.
You know, honestly, I really think America's Got Talent was lucky to have someone like Lys on their show at one point. I know that they are producing the America's Got Talent champions to bring back past finalists and standout performers to compete. And I do have to wonder if they have reached out to Lys. I would love to see her again after 9 years. Ideally not on the same show, but on different circumstances, but nevertheless, like, being able to see her and hear her again would be such a pleasure. She kind of slowly disappeared from the internet after the show, and, like, you know, all her social media and all of that, like, it's gone. Like, there's no traces of her. Like, Anisha, were you able to find anything on her?
We tried to reach out, we tried to you know, find her, but so far there's no luck. And I hope that she's well and she's happy, whatever she's doing with her life. So, you know, I wish her all the best, but
exactly.
I would love her, but, you know.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's... Anisha and I actually even created a Facebook page in Lys's name. The link is in the description box below. We just really hope to hear some original work from her, and we just, you know, want to get an update on how she's doing in life. But of course, we respect her privacy and her choices 100%. So through friends and acquaintances who know her, it seems that she is doing well. We got a few messages on Facebook, that's it. And just knowing that, I think we're both really, really happy for her. And Lys, if you ever come across our video, please know that you will always have a fan in us.
Yes, that's right. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for joining me in this conversation, Anisha. I'm so glad that we're able to do this video to basically feature an artist that we both really respect and we really appreciate.
Yes. Absolutely. It's been a pleasure as well. Yeah.
Alright, well, thank you very much for tuning in, and join us next time. Goodbye now. This is Starry signing off.